We are back with another episode of Umineko.
Dude.
Chill with the accents, okay. I would chill with the accents.
Alright, what happened last time? Quick recap.
Shit went down.
Battler and Beatrice are going at it. Battle of wits.
Last episodes, when we left off, Beatrice appeared for Maria and Rosa.
Right. Yeah, and also in front of Kyrie.
Oh yeah.
Showed up as a guest in the mansion. Which, again, is different from last time.
And they tried to meet Kinzo, but
alas.
Kinzo's magic protection was too much for Beatrice.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting, because you think of her as, like, this all-powerful being.
You do.
Or at least I do. So it's interesting that Kinzo, a mere mortal, would be able to do something that would affect her.
Well, we're just gonna have to see what happens here, aren't we?
We are, indeed.
Ever since they had met Maria in the airport, she had constantly been making a huge fuss about Halloween. I'm gonna piss everybody off. I'm just gonna talk normally.
That's probably the way to go.
But it seems she had cut loose a little too much. And acted a little too boisterous on the plane and on the boat and during lunch, because Rosa had warned her several times. In times like that, Auntie Rosa would rarely scold her in front of people. More commonly, she'd call Maria into the shadows and then scold her when they were alone. Scold.
Right. Scold is
as in
understatement of the year.
So since Maria had been called out somewhere, they thought she must be getting scolded. More like scalded, am I right?
Mm.
When they looked at the clock, they realized it was almost 6. They couldn't really imagine that Maria had been being scolded this whole time. Perhaps it had come time for some anime she watched every week to start or something. That's me. I feel.
Drop everything.
She had probably just decided to stay in the mansion's parlor. Yeah, Bunny Girl Senpai comes on 1 p.m. on Wednesday.
That's it.
I pull out my laptop in the middle of cultural competency class, put it on full blast.
Are you getting a voice?
Yes, it's the front panel again. It happens every time. Try that.
Okay.
マリアちゃんにとってバトラ君は新しい友達のような感じだったろうからね。
I can hear the rain and sound effects.
Can you try pressing the next one?
Yeah.
そのバトラ君と飛行場でハロウィンごっこをするのがきっととても楽しかったんだよ。
No.
バトラもずいぶんはしゃいでたな。
Still no?
あいつ図体はでかくなったってのに
You might have
中身は
to,
昔から
I mean, it's not really a big deal. Like, I can still read the text.
It's okay. I can fix that quick.
Do you want me to keep going here?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Sorry for the short delay. We're experiencing some technical difficulties here. We will fix them shortly. I mean, you can give your thoughts on what's happening so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where, there's just so much to sink your teeth into and to dive into that it's almost like overwhelming. You know, like it's really a lot to take in, and you know, I considered like taking notes, like physical handwritten notes and stuff.
There are some people that actually do take notes, by the way.
It would probably be helpful, but I just haven't. Taking mental notes instead.
I know one guy I watched play some of this game took notes in like Microsoft Word, and he had like 3-hour episodes after each chapter, just discussing the chapter and giving his thoughts. It was
Really?
crazy. Yeah, he went into crazy depth.
That's insane.
He got a lot of things right in
Really?
his theories. I digress, though. Let's see.
そうですね。
Cool.
Good.
Alright. We can hear now. It's a miracle.
バトラ様は
Perfect.
6年前のままでいてくださった気がします。
シャノンは6年前のバトラ君のこと覚えてるんだ。
Ooh. Get some perspective about Battler 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's true.
何しろ大層お元気な方でしたから。
僕も6年前に4人で遊んだことを
It's
思い出
really
すよ。
nice to have Best Girl back.
シャノンはだいぶお姉さん風だったね。
そうだな。今よりしっかりしてた気がするぜ。
それはあの頃は身の程をわきまえておりませんでしたもので、いろいろと失礼いたしました。
6 years ago, she must have been what,
い
like
いよ
12?
そんな礼
Probably,
儀
yeah.
云
Something
々は
like that.
Mm-hmm.
仕事中
Assuming
はと
she's
もかく
18 now.
こうして休み時間に過ごす時の僕らはあの頃から変わらない仲良しで居続けたいね。
I'm pretty sure she's 18. And Canon is 2 years younger than her. So I think Canon's 16 and Shannon's 18.
Okay.
そうだぜ。使用人のシャノンとオフの時の作用は使い分けていいだろう。奴隷じゃないんだぜ。使用人の仕事をしてるだけじゃないかよ。私はシャノンとは、サヨとは一番古い友人だと思ってるぜ。
Aww.
ありがとうございます。
You took the words right out of my mouth. It seemed that Shannon understood what lurked under Jessica's words, because she had heard a little bit from Jessica and Canon about what had happened between them. Apparently, George had also been informed about this, more or less. George approached the window and looked up at the darkening, raining sky.
カノン君はまだ幼いのに考え方が少し背伸びしてるところがあると思うんです。
いや、もうよしてくれよ。まあ私も雰囲気に流されてたところはあったと思うしさ。まあシャノンたちのことを見てちょっと羨ましいとか思って気がせいていたところもあったかもしれねえな。私のことなんかどうでもいいだろ。それよりジョージ兄さんたちの方はどういう感じなんだよ。だいぶいい感じなんだろ。
どうなんでしょう。
うん、とてもいい感じだよ。
Shannon was lost for words, her face red, while George answered brightly and immediately. That carefree attitude made it obvious that their relationship was proceeding so perfectly it would make anyone envious.
やけるぜ。ってことはシャノンもそのうち寿大社ってわけなんだ。
どうなんでしょう。
I
私に
wonder.
は
どうなんだろうね。僕にもわからないね。
I love when his glasses fog up like that.
He's just screwing with her, I love it.
George laughed like he was being mean and drew closer to Shannon. Ah, PDA, no! No, I'm joking. It was probably the way they usually flirted when they were alone. Jessica could only smile awkwardly and say, yes, yes, thank you, that's enough.
They gotta
僕に
chill out
は
around
夢が
her.
ある。それは一国一城の主になりたいというビジネス的な野望だけじゃない。
My dream is to marry Shan-chan.
生涯を共にできる伴侶と幸せな家族を築きたいという夢もある。子供は最低でも2人欲しいとか、家族で一緒にできるスポーツをしたいねとか、他にもいろいろ。そんな話をよくシャノンとはするよ。こんなことを話すといつもシャノンには気が早いですねと笑われるんだけど、僕はこの年のうちからもうなぜか落ち着いた老後のことを考えてしまうんだよ。
23 is a very old age.
Oh, it's old. It's old,
Pass me
alright.
my dentures.
元気に成長した子供たちと駆け回る孫たちと。
I started watching, have you ever seen Real Life?
No, because I've heard some not so great things about how it ended, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's on my plan to watch list. It's buried way deep, though.
Okay. Well, I've only seen like the first 2 episodes, but it's an interesting. Do you know the concept, the synopsis?
No.
So it's like a dude. He's like a 27-year-old, and he's like kind of a NEET.
Yeah.
So there's this thing called real life that like makes you look younger, and they send you back to high school so you can like rebuild skills and like try to come back into society as like a normal person.
Okay, I see how it is.
But it's pretty good so far, and it's just kind of funny, like him being 27 in high school. It's like, I don't know, they do some funny stuff with that.
そういうものに囲まれて、いつまでもシャノンと二人、ゆっくりと余生を送れたらなって。
Until she gets stabbed by an ice pick.
Well, she didn't get ice picked. She got like.
Oh, she got.
Like her face bashed in.
She got a lawnmower.
Basically. Chainsawed.
なんていうのか、そのジョージ兄さんらしい話だな。
そんな家族に囲まれたらさぞ素敵でしょうね。
Speaking of lawnmowers and hurting people.
Oh no.
Well, a terrible story from no person got hurt. But when I was like 12 or 13, I was mowing my backyard, and I encountered some resistance as I was pushing the mower. I looked down, I had run over a rabbit's nest.
Oh no.
It was awful.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Dude, that's traumatic.
It was.
Jeez.
I didn't even know they were there. It was hidden in like... there was like a dip in the ground, and it was hidden. I know. I was so upset.
That's rough.
Anyways, enough about my traumatic stories. Back to this one.
Yeah, back to this traumatic story.
To Shannon, who had been raised in a welfare institute, that harmonious image of a family was probably something she yearned after, and George, who promised that he would definitely grant that wish for her, was surely a fitting person for her to spend her life with. Shannon was an important friend to Jessica. George was surely the one most fit to entrust that friend's future to.
まあ、水を差すわけじゃねえけど、秀吉おじさんはともかく、エヴァおばさんとかどうなわけ？説得は大変じゃないの？
We'll just kill her.
そんなことは誰も気にする必要はないよ。僕が誰を伴侶に選ぶかは誰にもはばかられない。シャノンは僕が幸せにする。それに誰の許可が？
ジョージ兄さん、かっこいいぜ。よくそんな恥ずかしいセリフを堂々と。昔の兄さんはそういうキャラじゃなかったと思ったんだけどな。
Where the fuck is Battler in all this?
Good question. They letting him nap?
3日合わざれば刮目して待つべし。さ、僕だって成長する。シャノンを幸せにするために、僕はもっともっと勉強して、ふさわしい男に成長するつもりだよ。
It seemed that perhaps George had some kind of awareness of how embarrassing the words coming out of his mouth were. His face turned very slightly red, and he scratched his head.
ジョージさん。
大丈夫。母さんは確かにごねるかもしれないけど、僕に任せておけばいい。親族全員に君が僕の伴侶だと認めさせてみせる。
すっげえな。シャノンが羨ましいぜ、まったく。
そこまで言ってもらえて、恐縮です。
っていうかよ、私はお邪魔虫なんじゃないかって気がしてきたぜ。席を外した方がいいか？
Hey, it's Alabama, where polygamy is fine.
Wait, so you're saying
polygamy
and
Alabama
and incest? Again, calling out parts of our viewer base.
Smiling awkwardly, Jessica stood up from the bed she had been sitting on. And at the very moment, the phone rang. Before Jessica picked up the receiver, wondering what they wanted, Shannon looked at the clock and was taken aback. It seemed that she had taken too long on her break.
すみません。私、お勤めの時間を忘れた。これで失礼。
At the same time that Jessica picked up the phone, Shannon began dashing out of the room.
シャノン、またいつもの時間に、いつもの場所で。
はい。
That's not suspicious at all.
失礼します。
もしもし、ジェシカです。ああ、ゲンジさん。はい。シャノンは今そっちに戻ってますよ。私たちが引き止めちゃったんです。叱らないでやってください。ねえ。はい。
そっか、もうじき夕飯の準備の時間なんだね。
They're having mackerel.
Oh ho ho! Many plates were lined up on the counter in the kitchen in preparations for dinner proceeding steadily. The number of plates that were lined up there was 19.
Shit.
That number was one more than were lined up during the family conferences every year. I can't accept it. Oh shit.
Magical girl Goda.
Goda-san was flaring up at Genji, paying no heed to the pot that was boiling over.
Symbolism.
The master enjoys having his food alone in his study, so the food must be set out in the study. Of course, this is nothing new, you understand. Goda-san would really like to set the table for the master with his own hands as he puts his heart and soul into his cooking. But the master has imposed a strict rule that none but the servants bearing the crest of the Golden Eagle can enter his study. So while Goda-san could greet the master from outside of the study, not once had he been granted the honor of carrying his cooking into the study. Goda-san was always unsatisfied with this. Of course, he knows he's a newcomer in terms of years of service. However, he has accumulated plenty of experience from his previous jobs, and he's strongly confident in that he would be able to conduct himself properly even in front of Kinzo in a way that would not insult him. And yet, just because he is not permitted to the Golden Eagle, he still hasn't been blessed with his honor.
Oh no, I don't like when she does this. She's the only character who does this. Why is that? What is so special about her?
そうではありません。今夜は親方様の他にもお部屋まで食事を運んでもらいたいという方がおられるからです。その人物は非常に稀な賓客らしく、当主である親方様と同格の扱いをするようにきつく厳命されております。
Surprised, Kinzo's twin brother visiting from Okinawa.
Kinzo's twin brother, Ozink.
幸田さんはこの賓客にぜひ自らの手で配膳してポイントを稼ぎたかったに違いありません。虚栄心のお強い方でございますから、親方様に配膳する資格はなくても、せめてそれと同格の来客には昼食はどうしても手が開かず、カノンさんに言ってもらった。だから一年で最高の晩餐である今夜の食事をぜひ自分の手で配膳したかったのです。ですがそれを源氏さんに咎められたのでございます。合田さんに片翼の足がないからということのようです。再び資格がないと咎められ、合田さんの堪忍袋の尾が切れてしまったのでございます。おいたわしや合田さん、私は物陰からこうして見守るしかないのでございます。
熊沢さん、油を売っている暇があったら食堂の準備をして
He's so freaked out. Look at his face. He's like,
テーブルクロスは大丈夫ですか?
He's like, Kumasawa-san, stop talking to the audience.
Stop breaking the fourth wall.
これは失礼を。
That sound effect.
When it became her turn to bear the bronze, Kumasawa softly disappeared into the hall.
ベアトリーチェ様は親方様と全く同格のお方です。ルールも親方様のそれと同じものを尊ばなくてはならない。ゴーダは自分の仕事に専念し、親族の皆さんのお相手をするよう。
そのようなお客様相手に源氏さんならともかくこんな子供を生かせていいのですか？もし何かの粗相があったら失礼にあたります。確かに彼らの年季は長いですが、しかるべきところで修行をしたことがあるわけじゃない。
Hey, don't be rude to poor Shannon.
正直に申し上げて、お客様に接する基礎ができていないのです。
Aww.
Goda spoke bluntly, even though Shannon was waiting there right in the kitchen.
Poor Shannon.
Shannon was the one who Genji had ordered to carry the food to Beatrice's room. By the ranking system among the servants permitted to the Golden Eagle, Shannon was indeed the second highest ranked. If the highest ranked Genji went to set the table in Kinzo's room, then it fell to Shannon to set the table in Beatrice's room. Goda's pride was always horribly injured when he was confronted with this ranking system. At times like that, he would speak out bluntly and rudely about Shannon and Kennen. Goda kept raising example after example of Shannon's past failures, making a ruckus about how this was wrong and that was wrong. As Shannon listened to this, with her head hung in shame, she heard Kennen's voice from behind her.
I'll kill that son of a bitch.
Kennen had been listening from a blind spot, leaning against the hallway side of the wall near the entrance to the kitchen. What's up with the servants just hiding in random places?
They're just like chilling off to the side.
He probably knew that if he entered the kitchen, sparks would start to fly his way.
Damn right.
Why would... Oh, never mind.
What's up?
I got confused by something. I thought it said groundhog at first.
Helps me to build up a groundhog.
I was so confused.
The groundhog sees the shadow, then this VN lasts for another 6 months. In addition to like the year that it's already gonna take.
Oh god.
それより貴賓室のお客様がベアトリーチェ様だというのは本当なの？
昼食の配膳に行かされた時にあった。間違いなくあいつだった。
そう、お元気そうだった？
Can't remember that he and Shannon had different impressions of Beatrice. To Shannon, Beatrice was a cupid of love who had granted her magic to create her relationship with George. Judging by her happy expression, it looked like she couldn't wait to inform Beatrice of how her relationship with George had progressed. However, Kennen already knew. That witch had come here with a terrifying goal in mind. That vague witch, in the past only visible to them, had now walked in openly through the front door and had revived enough so that they could now carry food to her. In the past, when she had disappeared from them in front of Kennen, the witch had said something about her own power was still weak. Now that the witch could appear openly like this, did that mean she had finally returned to her former power? And she had said clearly that she had sown the seeds of love with the knowledge that it would fail. She had said clearly that the day had finally come when the door to the Golden Land would be opened.
シャノン、あいつは親方様と何かの怪しげな儀式をし、きっと想像もできない恐ろしいことをする。それには誰も抗えない。
何の話なの？
あいつはやってきたんだ。親方様が求めた黄金鏡の扉を開き、すべてを黄金鏡に戻すために。あいつは僕に確かにそう言った。
In the past, the two of them as furniture working for Kinzo had been told what the opening of the door to the Golden Land meant. Therefore, even without asking a single question in response, Shannon understood everything. Well, you know, it would be nice if we knew what that meant too.
Yeah, it would. It would be really frickin' nice if we knew.
So she grew deeply hopeless. Something tore at Cannon's heart as he saw her expression twist with grief.
そうだ。どうして今になって。
This is the first time we've heard music so far.
Yeah.
There's a lot of quiet, just rain.
Interesting.
だから言ったんだ。僕らは家具だって。人間の真似事なんかして恋なんかするから。僕たちの役目の終わるこの日を素直に受け入れられない。
There's gotta be something hidden in this.
Well, I mean, Cannon talked earlier about how, basically just what he said, like, she's not gonna be able to be set free because she chose to love and act out as furniture.
But set free in what way?
I'm not sure. Something tells me that this whole furniture thing is a lot more than just, like, you know, telling a servant that they're nothing. I think it's...
You think it's code for something?
I think it's covering up some sort of... Either... Like, I think they're human, but I think that maybe, like, their souls are magically... I don't know.
I like where you're going with this.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I like where you're going with this.
Okay.
I think that's a very interesting theory.
いつかこの日が訪れることをかつては願ってた。でもいつまで経っても訪れなくて、私たちはいつまで家具として苦しめばいいのかわかる。だから私思ったの。安息の日なんて永遠に訪れないんだって。
What does it mean by day of rest? Is that talking about them dying, or?
Well, part of me thinks that it's day of rest in terms of like them going to the Golden Land, if the Golden Land exists. And part of me thinks like, based on my theory, which really can't be substantiated by anything, but if their souls are being somehow held captive, then the day of rest would mean that they would stop being servants, they would stop being furniture, and maybe have the chance to be human.
Okay.
Maybe there's some sort of weird contract that has to be fulfilled.
Interesting.
僕だってでも
Thanks,
必
Ken.
ずいつか訪れるって僕は信じてた。だから僕は家具としての自覚を忘れなかったんだ。なのに姉さんは忘れた。
私が悪いのね。私が。
ああ、姉さんが悪い。
Ooh.
Who refers to themselves as furniture? It's not all the servants.
Only the ones with the golden eagle, right?
Does Kumasawa refer to herself as furniture? I know Genji does.
I don't think we've seen her say that she's
I don't
furniture.
think we have either.
I don't think we've seen Goda say that.
No, but Goda doesn't have the crest either.
Right. Does Kumasawa have the crest?
That's a good question.
I don't think she does.
I don't think so either. Because Shannon's second in line.
Yeah, so I think it's only Genji, Shannon, and Cannon.
I agree.
姉さんさえ恋を覚えなかったら。
So the question is, why do Shannon and Cannon have the golden crest, but not Kumasawa?
Yeah, that is a good question.
What is the golden crest?
Maybe it has to do with the house. I forget what it's called. That Kinzo like funded.
Oh, the
like orphanage.
Fuukin house or whatever.
Yeah, where Shannon and Cannon grew up.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Maybe it has to do with that in some way.
僕たちはようやく訪れた今日を喜び合うはずだった。姉さんがくだらない未練を作ってしまったんだ。必ず去らなければならない世界なのに。
儀式は今夜始まるの。
あとあいつは僕に言った。
Oh no.
今夜ジョージ様は姉さんに婚約指輪を贈るだろうって。
That was a fact. George should have snuck an engagement ring in his pocket today, and surely he would hand it over tonight.
あいつは姉さんとジョージ様を第二の番の生贄に使うつもりで二人の仲をくっつけたんだ。わかる？姉さんはあいつにそそのかされた上利用されたんだよ。
そうだったの。考えたこともなかったわ。
でもあいつは言ったよ。もし今夜その婚約指輪を受け取らなかったなら姉さんを生贄に選ばないと約束した。僕たちが揃って黄金鏡が行ける確率はとても低いと思う。13人が生贄になる。生き残るのは5人だけ。その中に僕たち2人が入れる確率は本当に低い。
Don't accept the ring is what he's going to say, so you and George can go to the Golden Land
で
together.
も姉さんだけでもその約束が得られるなら確率はもっと上がる。
Oh, no, he's just saying, don't accept the ring so we can go together.
僕はかけたいんだ。
Yeah, that's what I thought.
黄金鏡には救いがある。僕たちはそこへたどり着き人間を
So
手に入
basically
れるん
he's
だ。
saying screw George
そして姉さん
and
と
just
2
let
人で
us.
人間としての人生を歩みたいんだよ。そうすれば本当の恋だってできるかもしれない。
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what that's referring to.
True love meaning for each other, or both of them for different people?
We might even be able to treat... It doesn't sound like he's talking about for each other.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion.
That's kind of how I took it, but I don't know if he sees her in that way.
そこへ行けばどんな願いでも叶う。私たちをこの苦しみから救ってくれる。そう信じてた。
However, in this ritual, only a few people chosen by fate and chance would be invited to the Golden Land. Everyone else would lose their life as a sacrifice midway through the ceremony. But in the past, Shannon and Kennen thought that whether they reached the Golden Land or made sacrifices, it would all be the same because they would be released from their duties as furniture either way. So in short, the ritual had been something that would definitely grant release to furniture like them.
僕は嫌だ。これまでの辛かった分を姉さんと取り戻したい。生贄なんてごめんだ。僕と姉さんは生き残る。そして二人で黄金鏡へたどり着く。だから姉さんを第二の番の生贄になんかさせない。頼むよ姉さん。あの男の指輪を受け取らないで。それを受け取らなければあいつは姉さんを生贄には選ばないと約束してくれた。
それはできないよ。今夜の指輪はとても特別なもの。それを受け取らないことは
姉さん、儀式の生贄は魔女が気まぐれに決めることになってる。その魔女が姉さんだけは見逃すと約束してくれたんだよ。姉さんだけは絶対に黄金鏡へ行けるんだ。
私だけ？カノン君は？
僕は魔女のゲームで十分さ。あいつの魔女なんかかいくぐってやる。僕は無力じゃない。わずかの確率を無理やり掴み取ってやる。僕たちのせいなんて所詮は仮初めじゃないか。本当の人生を始めるために僕たちは黄金鏡へたどり着こう。そして人間を手に入れよう。そうしたらさ、僕も姉さんみたいに恋が知れるかな。もう家具だからって人を。僕はもう家具は嫌だ。絶対に人間になってやる。こんな苦しみから絶対に。
There were tears in Kennen's eyes. It had taken Kennen until now to notice. Shanna had been the only one to know and suffer the taste of love. He had too. The tears Jessica had shown him that day, and her painful smiles on all days since as she tried to smooth things over and brighten her mood, had slowly wrought some kind of change on Kennen's heart without him knowing it.
Shannon, さっきから呼んでいる。
Shannon snapped to reality at the sudden sound of Genji's voice. Apparently she had been called repeatedly. She hurriedly answered. When she turned around, Kennen had disappeared. It seemed he didn't feel like showing his fears to anybody.
はい、ぼんやりしていてすみません。
昼食はカノンに頼んだが、本来は私の次の序列のお前が運ぶべきものだ。ベアトリーチェ様は当家の最高の賓客だ。それ以上の賓客はいない。もう一人の親方様と思い。
よろしいですか。くれぐれも粗相のないようにお願いしますよ。
shut up, Goda.
経験の未熟なあなたに託すのは非常に心苦しいですが、当家のルールとあっては仕方ありません。くれぐれも頼みますよ。
Goda had officially agreed, but he threatened Shannon with an expression that told her he definitely wouldn't forgive any mistakes. Shannon, too, thought that Goda should do it if he wanted to that much, but considering it as her responsibility as the one who'd been granted the Golden Eagle, she had to give up. Besides, I wanted to meet Paige Ricci. Perspective change.
Yeah.
What will I talk about? What will I ask? I don't know. Will I show gratitude? Or else grief? Or else what? I don't know. Shannon loaded the witch's food onto the serving cart and left the kitchen with a slow gait. The person knocking was Kraus. Answer, father, answer! Answer the door now!
黙れ。
出ぬと言っている。
Oh,
源氏、そこにいるのであろう。なぜ私の指示した通りに食事をここへ運ばせんのか。
I could imagine him spitting as
Yeah.
he's talking. His dentures flapping all over the place. Kinzo screamed to the door. Genji was waiting beside
お
Kraus.
食事は書斎へ運べるよう準備しております。ただクラウス様が今夜はどうか下へ降りていただきたいと。
お父さん、毎日とは言いません。せめて今夜だけでも家族で揃ってはくれませんか。
誰が家族か。貴様はいつから生き倒れを待つハゲタカたちを家族と呼ぶよ。腐りて湧き出すウジ虫を家族と呼ぶようになったのか。
Oof,
Dude.
dude.
Lay off the green liquor, man.
Kraus shrugged at the answer, which he had half
源氏
expected.
言われた通りに食事をここへ運べ。なぜ言うことを聞かぬ。なぜ
源氏さん、後を頼みます。もうあの人に私の声は届く。
Kraus gave his head a small shake and quickly turned his back to the door to the study. He had only called out for his sibling's sake, knowing he was useless. After Genji watched Kraus get down the stairs, he called again through the door.
親方様、お食事を運ぶ準備はできております。南
Wait.
條先生の
Wait, hold on.
いか
Sorry.
がいたしますか。
What?
He had only called out for his sibling's sake, knowing it was useless.
He called out because
Okay.
because Ava and Rudolph and Rosa wanted.
Him to be there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought he was calling... I thought they were saying Kraus and Genji were siblings. And I was like, what the fuck? That is not the case.
Yeah. Nanjo was also in the study, because Kinzo had strongly pestered him about resolving their long-lasting chess game. Nanjo had been Kinzo's opponent since before evening. Nanjo had announced as a doctor that Kinzo's days were numbered. Your days are numbered, Kinzo. I'm gonna win this game. That's actually funny. Your days are numbered. That's something you'd say to a chess opponent, probably. Your days are numbered.
It is, yeah. That is, I mean, that's kind of an interesting way to put a doctor telling a patient that they only have so much time to live.
Your days are
Your
numbered.
days are numbered.
In that situation, if Kinzo pestered him about finishing a chess game while he was still alive, Nanjo couldn't refuse. Kinzo was thinking deeply about his move, concentrating more than usual. It had been Kinzo's turn for quite some time, and Nanjo, who was tired of waiting, had started randomly pulling out grimoires, and he couldn't understand it skimming through them.
金蔵さん、晩
Make your
年
move.
の前に腕を組むだけではいい一手は出ませんぞ。一つ休憩をして頭をリフレッシュしてみるのもいいのではありませんかな。黙れ。守りはこれで十分か。ビショップやナイトに隙間を突かれはしないか。
Kinzo today was insistent. So certain are you?
We're not bringing Yoda back.
Today, Kinzo was insistent on a strong defense.
Snap out of it, man.
Normally, the offense was Kinzo's motto. The defense was...
Best defense.
Huh? No, I was reading backwards like Yoda.
Oh, okay.
However, today was completely the opposite.
私も腹が減りました。ここいらで中断しませんか。それに休みなく頭を回転させておりましたから、もう頭がクラクラです。
Yawning is contagious.
It is.
これ以上は私も最善手をさせるとは。それは困る。チェスは互いに常に最善手を指さねば。そうで、それでは今日を著しく削ぐというものだ。
Kinzo sighed deeply and finally shifted his gaze away from the board. Chess's needs an opponent. That opponent was tired and suggested to suspend the game, so what else could be done?
確かにチェスの目的は勝利を目指すことで、そしてそれを読み合う知的ゲームです。ですが、
勝利以外にもう一つ目的があることを。
なんだと？勝利以外にどんな目的があるというのか。
金蔵さんがそんなこともお忘れとは。チェスを通し親友と楽しい時間を過ごすですぞ。
参ったな。それは確かずいぶん昔に私がお前に言った言葉だったはず。これは参った。
Kinzo, who normally wore a frown, surprisingly relaxed his face and laughed. Nanjo felt like he had been reunited with a close friend that he hadn't seen in a long time.
そういうことです。一本取られたついでにどうです？私と下に降りて食事と行きませんかな。食後にコーヒーと一緒にカスパロフの中盤についての議論でもいかがです？
良い提案だが遠慮する。私はもうこの部屋から出られない。
I can no longer leave this room.
I wonder if it has to do with Beatrice's power awakening. If he leaves the room, he might be in some sort of trouble.
儀式は始まっているのでな。
そうですか。では私はお腹もペコペコですからな。下へ降りることにします。気が向いたらいつでも。
南條、ありがとう。
おや、何の礼ですかな。
お前とのチェスの決着はつかなかった。だが私が忘れていたチェスの目的はどうやら果たせたらしい。それはどうもチェックメイトと同じくらい重要なものであったらしい。
らしくもない。何の干渉ですかな。
お前が言ったのではないか。私には余命がないと。もう行け。そしてもうこの部屋へ来るな。続きは黄金鏡でやろ
う。いいですが仕切り直しですぞ。ルークが落ちてしまったのは痛手ですのでな。それでは後ほど。
ああ、後ほどな。黄金鏡か煉獄か、あるいは次の世で。
Nanjo didn't say anything beyond that, and with a practiced hand, he pushed the button on the table that would release the auto lock. Then, after looking at Kinzo's back one last time, he left the study. Thus concludes Touching Moments with Kinzo. As he did, Genji's voice came from the hall.
それでは親方様、これより夕食をお運びいたします。
最後の晩餐になるやもしれん。味わわねばな。準備を頼む。
かしこまりました。親方様のご準備の方は万端となりましたか。
この部屋を今日まで十重旗への結界で厳重に包んだ。あれのルーレットが私を選ぼうとも必ずや弾き返す。そして生き残り黄金鏡へたどり着くうちの一人は絶対に私となる。
It's interesting because a roulette is a game of chance, and yet they're talking about being able to evade a game of chance, which is impossible.
Yeah.
All these people consider it a game, but yet they consider it a roulette. Roulette can't be a game because you can't play. You have no part in the roulette.
Yeah,
either
it's literally all.
Either it chooses you, or it's not a roulette.
But it's interesting because in addition to roulette, there's the whole chess motif going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can say that chess is a game. We can say that roulette is chance, but it's interesting that they're all kind of tied together. Like the witch selecting people for the sacrifice is called the roulette, but the chess game itself is like the overarching game that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a roulette within a chess game.
That is,
which is weird. I don't know how that works.
it's an interesting concept.
私を冥府へ連れ去ろうとする死神どもの来訪も拒もうぞ。
失礼します。お食事の準備に参りました。
Shannon entered the VIP room, bowing her head and pushing the servant cart. The young woman by the window, apparently gazing out into the impenetrable darkness outside, was unmistakably that witch.
Oh.
今度はシャノンか。懐かしいな。おお。
Oh.
I knew it.
だいぶ良くなったではないか。
Oh.
カノンとは違うな。
Eee.
見違えたぞ。
ありがとうございます。
Shannon solemnly prepared dinner. There were actually several things that she wanted to ask and talk about with the witch. But those things were all jumbled up and she didn't know where to start. Her heart was also jumbled up with various things and she didn't even understand her own emotions. Therefore, still remaining vague, all she could do was carry out her work indifferently. However, the witch guessed what was in her heart. You can't hide things from the witch.
謝らぬぞ。わらわは魔女だからな。
何がでし
ほうや、カノンから聞かされたであろう。そなたの恋路を助けたのはわらわの単なるいたずら心。いかにしてこじれ、ねじれ、破綻するかを干渉するためにまいた種に過ぎぬと。
恋はするより聞く方が楽しい方もおられるでしょう。
まさかわらわに感謝しようというのもあるまいな。
Beatrice is Maki.
Is what?
Is Maki from Bloom Into You. She just likes to watch relationships happen.
Oh.
あなたが私
Am I wrong?
どんな下心
I didn't know what you meant at first, but I
今度は法を
suppose.
授けたとして
Except she's a lot more, there's a lot more malicious intent with her than with him.
あなたが私に与えてくれたものは変わらない。だから添い遂げられないと知りつつまいた種であったとしても私は恨んだりしません。
ふん、やはり家具というのは面白みのないそれを面白く調理するのがわらわの腕の見せ所よの。
私にベアトリーチェ様のお考えは分かりません。あなたは私たちなど足元にも及ばない大魔女で、その遠大な資料など想像するにも至りません。でも一つだけ言えることがある。
なんだ。
私に人間を教えてくれてありがとう。
Oh.
Get wrecked, Beatrice.
Oh.
Get wrecked,
How's she gonna
Beatrice.
respond to this?
私はもう家具じゃない。
黙れ家具。真の人間ならば婚約指輪を受け取ろうという日に告げられた死の宣告に嘆き狂いて踊り出すだろう。
Get wrecked.
Except she's just given a big
そなたは
FU
なんだ
to
達
her.
観し全てを受け入れたような顔つきではないか。実に拍子抜けだぞ家具。
いいえ、私は家具じゃない。
Oh, go
黙れ
Shannon.
家具。
Go Shannon.
家具ではありませんから。
わらわの命令が聞けぬというか。
家具なら命令に従います。でも人間は命令に従うかどうかを
A man chooses. A slave obeys.
You know what's gonna happen at the end of this? Beatrice's gonna be like, oh, this is very interesting. I wanted this to play out like this anyways.
Uh-huh.
だから私
I can
は
see it.
あなたの命令に従わない。
Look, she looks so concerned. Oh.
前言を撤回する。やはり面白いぞ。
See?
Mm-hmm.
What did I say?
種をまかねばそなたは何の感情も抱かず儀式に身を任せただろう。しかし今のそなたは実に面白く育ちわらわを心底楽しませてくれるぞ。
See?
I don't like where this
そ
is
れ
going.
でいい。わらわは退屈を愛さないのだ。
お夕食の準備が整いました。どうぞ。
なかなかうまそうではないか。
It's poisoned.
ゴーダが黄金鏡へたどり着くことがあれば、わらわの料理長に任命してやってもよかろう。
カノン君に聞きました。私にジョージさんの婚約を断らせれば私を生贄にしないなんて約束をしたとか。
したぞ。そなたは第二の晩にうってつけの生贄候補だったのだが、カノンがそれを許せと泣いて叫ぶので寛大に聞き入れてやったのよ。
Now Kenan's going to the sacrifice, probably.
Yeah.
そなたが婚約を破棄すればとの条件付きでな。
I doubt she gives up on
わらわの
the
な
engagement,
ん
though.
と寛大なことよ。
I think even if she did give up on the engagement, she would still sacrifice her.
That's true.
She's so mischievous that like you can't trust
なん
what
て
she
バ
says.
カな条件。そしてなんてバカな脅迫。そんなものでカノン君をいじめ抜いたというの。
ほう。
Oh, she's taking a stand. I love it.
Apparently, Shannon had seen through it. Apparently, she could imagine how much Kenan had been bullied and humiliated by the witch with that horrible promise of fate.
絨毯に這いつくばらせ、わらわの靴にキスをさせてやったぞ。それだけではない。他にどのような恥ずかしめを与えたか聞きたいか。
I didn't hear about any of this.
Please go on.
Shannon silently shook her head.
Please continue.
I finally
私はようやく理解しました。あなたは人をいじめ、惑わせ、困らせて、それを楽しみ、糧にしている。
Anything you do will interest her, though, so.
だから、あなたに抵抗する唯一の方法がこれであると確信した。
Look at the determination in her eyes.
なんだ。
あなたなんか知らない。
Ooh,
私は私に与えられた運命を
that's sure
全
to
う
piss
する。
her off.
だからあなたを面白がらせたりしない。
あなたなんか
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
知らない。
Rip. The witch's features twisted in hatred for just an instant.
Look at that.
It disappeared immediately, but that expression that rose to her face for only a brief time was unusual for the witch who had never broken her malicious smile.
そういう抗い方もあるか。面白い。気に入った。殺してやる。お前の思い人と一緒にな。
それがあなたの決められた運命ならば、ご随意に。
Reverse psychology. She's not gonna kill Shannon now.
Yeah.
私はそれに怯えたり、逆らったりしません。
No, she's still gonna kill her.
I
こ
doubt
れ
it.
から起こる苛烈な運命があなたの意志によるものだなんて信じないから。私たち人間は未来に起こりうる運命など知らない。だからこそ最後の瞬間まで自分の信念と運命に従い精一杯生き抜く。運命はただのサイコロの目。
Fate is just a roll of the dice.
そこに悪意なんて感じない。あなたが吹き込もうと信じない。
ほう。
Oh.
Oh.
家具をやめたくせに死を恐れぬとはな。それがわらわを退屈させると思っているようだが、それは大きな誤解だぞ。そなたが本当に最後の瞬間までそれを貫けるか、ますます興味が湧いた。
私は悔しい。どうしてあなたは人の姿をして私たちの前に現れ、人の言葉で語り私たちを嘲笑うのか。私たちの前に現れず運命を予告しなかったなら、私たちは最後の一瞬まで精一杯生きられるのに。
それが魔女というものよ。
They fuck with people.
貴様らの運命を食い物に、工事の存在として定時の存在の上に君臨する。 そなたらの運命など所詮はかけら。両手で椀を作ればいくらでも救える。わらわに飼われた肉牛どもが何をほざこうとも、わらわの食卓を楽しませる結果に変わりはせぬのに同じこと。
無力な私たちにはあなたの儀式にも運命にも抗うことなどできない。しかしあなたに今すぐ不愉快な思いをさせることはできる。
ほう、それは何か。
I wanna see this!
今すぐここを立ち去ることです。
Oh, get wrecked!
あなたの言葉に答えることは全てあなたを楽しませている。あなたの問いかけに答えないことが
Yes!
あなたへ
Yes, because everything interests her. Everything she say will interest her.
Yeah.
So, in order to not interest her, just don't talk to her.
なるほど。
Kind of goes with the she can't exist if you don't believe in her thing too.
Yeah! I wonder.
一矢報いることはできよう。
If everyone just ignores her, is she
わらわ
basically
を倒す
powerless
こと
then?
はできぬぞ。
Probably.
わらわは誰しもを永遠に殺す力を持っている。永遠に繰り返し殺される輪廻の中で、そなたがいつまでその抵抗をできるのか忘れるなよ。自らが口にした言葉。
The fate of death is also the joy of rebirth.
それでは失礼いたします。ご用がありましたらお呼びください。
Shannon gave a reserved bow as she would to a stranger and faced away.
Nice.
With that gesture, maybe she really had taken a shot back at the witch, just as Beatrice had mentioned. Because when the witch called out again, she sounded a little more quick-tempered than she had before.
カノンはわらわに感謝したぞ。そなたは感謝せぬのか。安息の日をわらわが与えることを。
家具なら安息の日を喜びましょう。ですが私は人間ですので、だからあなたに感謝することはありません。ご用はそれだけですか？
ジョージから指輪をもらうつもりであろう。受け取ればわらわがカノンと交わしたそなたを生贄に選ばないという約束を破棄すること。
Who even trusts a promise with a witch anyways?
Yeah.
まだ
It's
ご
kind
用
of
があ
hard
る
to
な
know
ら
what to believe.
他のものを来させますので。それでは失礼いたします。
A
Get
flat-out
fucked.
interruption. Trying to give no more answers. At the sound of the door closing, Kanan said an answer. It seemed that Shannon's resistance had probably struck far more deeply into the witch than Shannon herself had thought.
F's in the chat.
Because an expression of hatred had once again risen to Eiichiri's face.
F's in the chat.
She had made
right now.
Kanan submit, even though he hadn't been taken in until the end. Yet after that, now it was Shannon who had refused to submit, when until now she had been easily taken in.
やはりこれは面白いことではないか。
What did I tell you?
Everything is interesting to her.
わらわもまだまだ若いか。これだから千年は生き飽きぬのよ。
The most fabulous time of the family conference. That was the dinner. Back when Kinzo had been serious about the family conference, he had placed extreme importance upon this dinner, for which everyone would gather just once a year. Should the dinner not be standards, he would take it as the deepest shame for himself as the host. And he'd strongly ordered Natsui to make absolutely sure that it was one to be proud of. Because of that, she and Krause had employed Goto, who had confidence in his cooking abilities. As a result, they could unveil a wonderful dinner that they had confidence in. Yet by that time, Kinzo had started closing himself up in his study and no longer appeared for dinner. Maybe you could call that ironic. When the main dish for tonight, calf steak, well, not mackerel, was set out, Goto began to brag about it, further exciting everyone's appetite.
こちらソースはボルドレーズとなっております。ベースの赤ワインはもちろんボルドー産の中でも素晴らしいものを使用しておりますが、その他にも当家オリジナルブレンドとしまして、世界各地数種類の名酒をブレンドしまして、より深い味わいとなりますよう整えてございます。このソースは本年限りのものでございます。 どうかお楽しみいただければ幸いです。
素晴らしいじゃないか。しかしボルドレーズソースはフランス料理の王道ではないのかね。それにフランス以外の酒を使うのは少し邪道ではないかという気もするね。
旦那様、本日は年に一度の親族会議でございます。普段は遠方にお住まいの皆様がはるばるお越しになり、一堂に集われた夜の晩餐には世界各地より普段は出会うことのない名酒を取り寄せブレンドしたソースが何よりもふさわしいかと特別にご用意させていただいた。
素晴らしい、本当に素晴らしい料理人や。能楽が加わると料理も薬も効果は2倍になる
A
ってわけや
spoonful
な。
of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Yes.
元の料理のうまさも2倍、さらに能楽で2倍、味の倍々ゲームや。
Sky.
いやね、兄さん、その質問読まれてたんじゃないの？
違いねえな。まんまと美味しいところを郷田さんに持ってかれちまったぜ。
そうかね。今日の料理をフランス風だと気づいていない者もいるんじゃないかと。エヴァは先ほどバターを使わないのが美徳と言ったが、それはスペイン風だ。確かに国境を接してはいるがね。
そういう意味で言ったんじゃないわよ。話の一部分だけ抜き出して勝手に加工しないでくれるかしら。
とっても美味しいソースね。郷田さんは本当に素晴らしいわ。
お褒めに預かり大変光栄です。これもすべて奥様の日頃のご指導のおかげでございます。
いえ、すべて郷田のアイディアです。私はレシピを聞き承認しただけです。
We really haven't seen a lot of Natsuki this time around.
Nope. It looked like the siblings quickly got into a loud argument about something as trivial as the sauce, but for the most part, dinner proceeded peacefully. However, the thing that they all wanted to really ask about was smoldered inside each of their hearts. And that was the visitor of the 19th person, the Golden Witch. In actuality, Ava, Rudolph, and Kyrie were on alert during dinner. If the mystery guest was to be introduced, this dinner table was the most appropriate place to do it. However, no plates had been prepared at the table for the witch. The family conference would begin in earnest after the meal, and previous experiences told them that it could last deep until the night. But they couldn't understand what meaning there could be in keeping this person who should be introduced hidden until late at night. So Ava, Rudolph, and Kyrie had started to suspect something. That the guest might actually be unknown to Cress as well. If she wasn't a saboteur called by Cress to give him an advantage in the inheritance problem, they should probably speak frankly to Cress beforehand and create a common front to resist anything disadvantageous to the four siblings. If she was Kinzo's saboteur, whose purpose was to keep the inheritance from being handed over to the four siblings, the enmity between Kraus and the other siblings could become nothing more than a weak point that benefited the enemy.
それではごゆっくりお楽しみください。
With the table set and the cuisine explained, Goda tried to leave the room, but Kyrie called him to stop with a small voice.
はい、キリエ様、何か。
ごめんなさい。今日はお客様がいらっしゃってると思ったんだけど、晩餐にはお見えにならないのかしら。
She had thought she'd said it nonchalantly, but unfortunately it reached the ears of Natsu, who was sitting in the next seat. It seemed that Natsu had heard it to mean, even though there were guests here today, won't the host be coming to dinner? In other words, that Kyrie had asked whether Kinzo was coming to dinner.
当主様は体調が優れられませんので、お部屋で食事をとると仰せです。主人が初めにそう説明いたしましたが、何か。ごめんなさい。そうじゃないの。
In an instant, Kyrie realized from Natsu's reaction that this unknown visitor was also unknown to Cress and his wife. And what that meant. On the chessboard placed inside Kyrie's mind, she could feel the rearrangement of the pieces changing, making loud clattering sounds. It seemed that Battler, who was sitting next to Natsu, had heard Kyrie's words without misunderstanding them, and he had let out a wild voice, questioning to see who else would have been invited to today's family conference. Thanks to that voice, the uncomfortable feeling in the siblings' chest suddenly exploded. Everyone looked at Goda at the same time. Judging by their appearances, it was obvious that at least no one here had invited that mystery woman. For instant, Goto was startled to find everyone's gazes gathered on him, but because of his naturally vain personality, this actually gave him a feeling of superiority. Therefore, he answered in an extremely calm and graceful manner.
はい、貴賓室でお一人で食事を取られたいとのことで、そちらへお運びしております。
Therefore, Goto's extremely graceful and reasonable response made it obvious to everyone that a 19th person, a visitor, existed.
貴賓室？客？何の？誰の話ですか？
Natsu's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know about the visit of the Gold Witch was thinking. Goto was slightly disoriented, as though he hadn't remotely expected to be questioned by Natsui. That honored guest had been spoken of so stringently. He hadn't mentioned that Krauss and his wife might not have known.
そのベアトリーチェ様でございます。
ベアトリーチェ
Oh no. Oh no.
ベアトリーチェ来てるでしょ
Mary had been telling the other cousins over and over again that she had met Beatrice today. The cousin had answered saying, "Isn't that nice?" But they hadn't believed, so their eyes grew wide.
すまねえ。俺はてっきりマリアの冗談だと思ってたぜ。あ、本当にいたんだな。
ベアトリーチェってあの黄金のベアトリーチェなのかよ。
マリアはいる。誰も
She's gonna explode.
ごめんね、マリアちゃん。そういうつもりじゃない。
After learning that everyone doubted Beatrice's existence, Mari, who'd been in good mood all day, completely lost her temper. George, who was sitting next to her, tried friendly to calm her.
ゴーダ、それもディナーの何かの余興なのかねなかなかの味な演出だ。
兄貴、三文芝居はやめようぜ。兄貴が呼んだんだろ。
呼ぶ？誰よ？どこから？
兄さん、はっきりさせましょう。あれは誰？まさか本当に肖像画のベアトリーチェだと言うんじゃないでしょうね。
私にはお前たちが何を言っているのかさっぱりだ。ゴーダ、これは本当に冗談ではないのだな。
Not really.
私はその源氏さんからそのように指示を受けただけでして、その
源氏を呼びなさい、今すぐ。
When Natsu yelled, Goto shot ahead to the hallway. The sound of the door being thrown open at that time triggered a sudden uproar on the dinner table.
じゃあ兄貴も知らないってんだな。呼んだのは誰だ？親父ってことか？
私には何のことかわからんね。お前たちは私が裏で糸を引いていると信じているようだが、それは大きな誤解だ。
クラス兄さん、落ち着いてえな。わしらはもう腹の探り合いをすべき段階にないで。もし兄さんも知らない怪人物だっちゅうんなら、これはとんでもない話になるんやで。
秀吉さん、言葉を少し慎みませんか？主人は親族会議に不要な人間を招いたりはしません。
まったくだ。お前たちは何を言っているの？肖像画の魔女が額縁を抜け出して現れたとでも言うのかね。実際にその魔女様に会ったという人間がいるわけでもなかろう。
私、あったわ。
Rose in the loony bin! Well, to her fairness, we did see her appear in front of Rosa. Avery and Rudolph nodded at Rosa's proclamation. The brief tension was broken, and Mario also started to make a ruckus. The room was by now chaotic.
Yes. Understandably.
つまりなんだ？じい様に黄金を授けた魔女様が今年の親族会議にはスペシャルゲストとして登場ってわけかよ。
しかし、本当に？
Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. Yes.
ローザおばさんの見間違いってことじゃねえの？
ローザおばさん、間違いなくなんですか？
ええ。
Now you know how Maria feels when you kept calling her crazy Rosa. Now nobody believes you, and you have a taste of your own medicine.
Is Kirie gonna step in, though?
話もして。
See that she saw her too?
Maybe.
私はあったの。あれは間違いなく魔女だった。信じて。私の見間違いとか錯覚とかそんなのじゃ断じてない。あれは何だったの？
In the instant before the typhoon visited, Riz had definitely met with a witch in the Riz garden, but that scene had been so hard to accept as reality, and the more she spoke of it like this, the less she understood what it was that she had met. Ironically, because she had lost her composure when she said that she had definitely met the witch, the more desperate she became, the more vague the witch's existence seemed. So it was a single composed sentence that affirmed her existence for certain.
私もあったわ。挨拶とはとても言えないけれど、一応言葉も交わしてる。ローザさんの見間違いとかじゃ断じてないわ。
キリエさん、それマジかよ。
ええ。でも彼女は私に名乗らなかった。だから彼女がベアトリーチェであると断定はできない。でも主観的で恐縮なんだけど、私は玄関ホールで彼女に会ったから肖像画と顔を見比べることができた。私は第一印象で彼女こそがこの肖像画の主に違いないって思ったわ。あくまでも主観よ。
そんなことはありえません。第一、その女はどこからやってきたというのですか。今日の船は皆さんの送迎のための便が往復しただけです。その船に乗っていたのですか。
それを言われると弱いね。確かにそんなご婦人と一緒に下船した記憶はない。
あらそう？私たちの乗ってきた船以外に船はないってどうして証明できるの？できないわ。来なかったわ。証明できない。
People upstairs being noisy, probably. Jeez.
道理だな。来たは証明できる。来たのを見たやつが見たと言えばいい。しかし来ないは証明できないぜ。全員が来ない、見てないといったところで、全員が見てないところでこっそり来たことを否定はできない。つまり悪魔の証明ってやつだ。
It's easy to prove that a devil exists. All you have to do is meet a devil. But it's impossible to prove that devils don't exist. Just because no one has ever met a devil doesn't mean that you can deny the possibility that they're hiding away somewhere that humans cannot go. You can't deny the existence of aliens for exactly the same reasons. And until humanity searches for the whole of space and can show perfectly that aliens don't exist, you can't be sure that they don't. And it's definitely impossible for us to ever check the entirety of space for the existence of aliens. Therefore, while there may be a number of ways to prove that aliens do exist, it is impossible to show proof that denies their existence.
となれば、僕たちが乗ってきた船以外の船で来たかどうかなんて議論しても無駄な問題ということになるね。僕たちと一緒の船にはいなかった。それだけが事実で、それ以外の方法でとにかくこの島に訪れたことになる。
そうね。どうやって来たかなんて議論の必要はないかもしれない。肝心なのは現にこの屋敷に今いて私たちと晩餐を共にする気がないという事実よ。
整理しよう。今この島には後ろ宮家18人以外にもう一人客がいる。そしてそいつは兄貴も夏日姉さんも知らない客だってんだな。
知りません。何の話だかもわかりません。
お前は少し黙っていなさい。頭痛に触る。
Get wrecked.
そう言う通りだ。私にはお前たちが何の話をしているのかさっきからさっぱりだ。
じゃあ答えは一つしかないわ。お父様が呼んだのよ。今日の親族会議のために。
親族会議に？だから何のために？
そんなの知らないわよ。兄さんが知ってたらそれを問い詰めようって思ってたのよ。
クラス兄さんは知らんと言うとる。つまり話はこうや。お父さんが肖像画の魔女にそっくりの客人をこっそり招いた。それにローザさんが出会い、マリアちゃんが出会い、そしてキリエさんもあった。
You're supposed to read the letters at dinner.
今はそこまでや。わしらに言いたいことがあるんならとっとと姿を現せばええ。挨拶もなしに引きこもってるっちゅうんはどないなわけないや。
親族会議なんか花から関心のない親父が新しい愛人をこっそり呼びつけたってわけか。理想の魔女様のおべべを着せてよ。そう決着するには今日という日は意味を持ちすぎてるぜ。
理由は一つしかない。親族会議に加わるためよ。お父様の遺産について何かの権利を主張する気でいるのよ。
バカバカしい。当主様に愛人などと汚らわしいものなどおりま。
お前は黙っていると言っている。 私はこの屋敷でずっと親父殿と過ごしているが、そんな話は聞いたこともない。最大限理解を示したとして、何十年も昔の愛人との間に隠し子がいたとして、それを親父殿が探し出し、今日という日に呼びつけたと、こう言いたいのかね。
あなた、お父様にそんなものがいるわけがあります。尊い後宮の血が愛人ごときに。先ほどから数人が見たと自称しているに過ぎません。幻想妄想白チュームに決まっています。
Yes.
あるいはこれも夫を陥れるための皆さんの何らかの芝居なのですか？
何の芝居だってのよ。芝居だって言うならそっちでしょうが。
よせよ姉貴、ちょいと暴力的な言い方だが、夏日さんの言う通りではある。桐江は姿を見たが俺は見てない。姉貴もだ。だがローザは見た。しかしってことはいるってことになる。いるを証明している連中が存在する以上、いるで直ちに決着だ。悪魔の証明の逆パターンってわけだな。それに、俺も会いたいんだよ。そして一体当家に何の御用かと直接問いただしたい。
それについては私も同感だ。六軒島へ何の御用かぜひお尋ね
したい。
白々しいこと言わないで。狙いは一つよ。お父様の遺産を狙ってるのよ。相続問題に明るい弁護士に今後の作戦を練らせるべきよ。お母様と同格の権利を愛人が主張した場合、私たちの取り分はかっきり半分さらわれることになる。
ちょっとみんな待って。源氏さんがもうすぐ来るわ。彼は何でも知ってる。
Come on.
きっと私たちの疑問に答えてくれるわ。それまでそういう話はなしにしましょう。さあ子供たち、悪いけれど大人はちょっと込み入った話をしないといけないの。ゲストハウスへ戻っていなさい。
Rosa yelled at the children, slightly emotionally. The children didn't understand why they were suddenly being yelled at now, but Ava and the rest came to the same realization as Rosa after the delay. They were talking so grandly about the filthy topic of inheritance in front of the children. There was no way they'd want their children to remain here, so they all immediately agreed with Rosa's plan.
そうやな。ローザさんの言う通りや。ジョージ、
They're gonna make them
いとこ
walk
み
through
ん
the
なで
Thai
ゲス
food
トハウス
back to
に
the
戻
guest
ってるん
house.
や。いとこ同士仲良く遊ぶんやで。
ジョージ、言われた通りになさい。いとこみんなを連れて今すぐ出ていくのよ。
ちょっと待ってよ母さん。
George is 23, he's not a child anymore.
僕たちはまだ食事も終えていない。
デザートもまだ来てない。デザートはゴーダさんにゲストハウスに運ばせます。だから出て行きなさい。
ジェシカ、ここから先は大人の話し合いです。行きなさい。
まだ食いかけだってもんな。
ってことは俺だけ例外ってことはないよな。
理解してくれてありがとうバトラ君。でもあなたラッキーよ。
どうして？
私も出ていけるなら出ていきたいもん。
違いねえぜ。大人は大人で遺産をめぐって楽しい一家団らんをお楽しみくださいって。
私も席を外しましょう。どうやら今夜は私の出番はなさそうだ。
Nanjo softly rose from his seat. He had been calmly watching the whole discussion from his seat at the farthest corner of the table without pointlessly interrupting. His reaction was very adult, like a calm old gentleman. When Nanjo rose from the seat, it urged on the other people who were supposed to leave. As the children noisily rose from their seats, commotion was heard in the hallway as the servants returned.
遅くなって申し訳ございません。源氏をお呼びいたしました。
お屋敷の中の戸締まりの確認に行っておりましたもので申し訳ございません。
さあ子供たちはゲストハウスへ。ゴーダ
Oh,
さ
they're
ん、
not gonna let the
申
kids
し
hear
訳ないん
about
だけれど
Beatrice either.
子供たちの分のデザートをゲストハウスへ運んでくれるかしら。
よろしいのですか？
It seemed like Oda did not appreciate that the dinner he'd worked so hard on was going to be interrupted by like this. He sent Natsuo a look as though asking her whether that was really alright.
ローザさんの言う通りにするように。それから私たちにデザートの配膳は不要です。呼び出しがあるまで食堂には近づかないように。これは他の使用人にも伝えること。いいですね。
はい、かしこまりました。
さあさあ皆さん参りましょうかな。マリアさんもこれ以上お母さんを困らせてはいけません。
マリアもベアとの話する。
マリアちゃん、僕たちにゲストハウスでベアトリーチェの話を聞かせてくれないかい？ぜひ魔女の話を聞きたいんだね。
What
ジョージ兄さんは本当にうめえぜ。
she fell for that?
感動するぜ。
本当に子持ちじゃねえのかよ。手慣れすぎだぜ。
Herman's mood was completely back to normal at George's words, and even she took the initiative in hurrying everyone to go to the guest house. It looked like Goda didn't like being kicked out himself, but he was unable to disobey Natsuo and left the room with Battler and the rest, closing the door.
ご用は何でしょうか？
あるわ。たっぷりと。それもみんな。誰から質問するかくじ引きが欲しいくらいよ。
だが誰が一番のくじを引こうとも最初にする質問は同じだと思う。
違いねえな源氏さん、正直に答えてくれ。今貴賓室にいるベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだ？
Oh no! No! What? No! They're gonna pull that shit on us? Boy.